Adam, it's finally game time, and this is going to be, I know you and I have been tired of talking about this team for 9 months. This is going to be the last time we have to talk about this team before they play a game. How excited are you for Saturday?
I'm almost at a loss for words, Brian. No, it's been so much talking, and we'll get into TCU, and that's great, but once you hit off on the record button here, I'm going to be glad to get out to Texas, catch my breath. It is cool, though, on Friday. We're going to get an opportunity to talk to Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, so it's even going to be a little bit more of a busy road trip than I initially anticipated, but very excited aside from the anticipated humidity that we're about to venture into.
Yeah, we've chatted with a couple of players and said, are you excited just to stop talking and just see how this team plays? Like, yes. Yeah. I can't wait to see what this looks like. I think that's how Buff Nation feels, is they just want to see this product on the field. And you have all these Buff fans that are so excited, fans that think they're going to be 9-3, 10-2. You have fans that think they're going to win one game. Not fans. People think they're going to win one game. You have one national guy saying they've got the worst roster in the country. So it's all over the board what people think about this team. But finally on Saturday we get to see what do they actually look like. And I don't know if it's you can't make a final analysis off of TCU, but we're going to get that first barometer. What do they actually look like?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever covered a football game that has close to as many question marks as this one does going into it because of the roster turnover, not only with Colorado, but you look at TCU and so much of last year was Max Duggan having that it factor and them really finding a way to find that magic in big moments. And I think that's going to be a really good football team this year. And I have a lot of respect. I think TCU has one of the more underrated traditions. I mean, this is the first college football team from the state of Texas to play in the college football playoff. You wouldn't have guessed that. Right. An enrollment less than 10,000, but their fan base has a lot to be proud of. You start with the Gary Patterson runs that they had on many occasions, and it seems like one of those programs that's consistently better than what people think. This is one year I don't know, because the little glimpse we saw of Chandler Morris, their starting quarterback, it wasn't great last year. I know that he had over, 550 yards in a game against Baylor a couple years ago, and that's one of the reasons that Horned Frogs fans have been so excited about his potential. But you look at that, and I know that they have really good depth. They took advantage of making the playoff last year by bringing in some talent. Sonny Dykes did a good job with that. New OC, there's so many things with their team that I don't know about. Right. And we've been around here, so that just naturally, even if you're trying to be unbiased, there's just naturally you're going to think higher of the guys you've been talking about for the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months since Coach Prime got here. So I don't quite know what to think, but I keep going back to the fact that I'd be surprised if this is a blowout. I think it should be an entertaining game. Yeah. You mentioned the wide variety of expectations. This 20.5-point spread seems like a lot of points. I don't know, but I expect Colorado to be more in the game than that.
Yeah, I do too. And, I don't know what to expect from TCU. Chandler Morris did obviously start the game here in Boulder last year. There was the one game he started. He gets hurt in that game. Max Duggan takes over and is Heisman finalist. So kind of a Cinderella story there. Chandler has got the talent, but he hasn't been healthy throughout his career. I know he's chomping in the bit. I talked to Sonny Dykes earlier this week, and he goes, he can't wait. He handled it well last year, as well as could be expected. He can't wait to get back out there. And so you have a guy that's going to be motivated. And, let's be honest, TCU was the team that was in the national title game last year. This game is in their place, and they're hearing everybody talk about Colorado. And so they're going to be motivated by that. Sonny was telling me that. He said, hey, he goes, I'm fine not being in the spotlight. Our coaches are. He goes, but certainly I think our players are taking some motivation off the fact that everybody's talking about Colorado and not the Horned Frogs. And they should feel a little disrespected in some ways, because coming off the year they did, everybody's picking them the bottom half of the Big 12 and then not really talking about them here. So I'm interested to see how they come out to defend what they've been last year and to see what that factor is. But then you've also got on the Colorado side, everybody thinks they're going to be terrible. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. They want to prove those people wrong.
Yeah, and you even go back to the national championship game. That's another source of motivation for that football team, because they were embarrassed. That game was over real quick. Yep. And so the guys that are back from that team are going to obviously want to prove something on this big noon kickoff. That was not a great TCU defense last year. I think they ranked 95th in the country in total offense. So you lose your quarterback. To me, there's more question marks with that TCU in terms of making them out to be a national power again. I think they need to still prove that once again because there's so much changeover in their roster. But then I know if you were a TCU supporter, you look at what's happening here in Boulder and all these question marks you could spin into, well, this is why we should go out there and win this game because Shedeur hasn't played in a Power 5 game, But those of us that have been around this program have a different lens. It's kind of your perspective on it. I don't see Shedeur Sanders going out there and laying an egg in his first game at this level. I think he's going to play an excellent football game, and it's going to be a coming out party for Travis Hunter, and it should be a lot of fun for folks to watch.
Yeah, this is one of those games where the TCU fans look at the schedule and say, that's a win. And the Colorado fans look at it and say, yeah, we can get that win. Both fans are looking at this. This is such a tone-setting game as well for both those teams. I think for TCU, you want to win that game and prove that you are what you were last year or close to it. And if you're Colorado, there's been all this hype that, Coach Prime, let's be honest, has put a target on this team, and they're going to come at you right away. You want to prove that you can handle that. And so it's a big game. So let's get into predictions. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that had Colorado played that Week 0 game against Arizona State like they wanted to, I would have picked a Colorado win in the season opener, but they're not, and they're traveling out to Fort Worth, and they're going against a team that, they got blown out in the national championship game last year, and they've got a lot of new players, but they were in the national championship game last year. So I have to pick a TCU victory here. I do think Colorado is going to have a successful year one with Coach Prime as head coach and go to a bowl game. So I think the people that think this is a 2, 3, 4 win football team are nuts. I think Tom Luganbill for making that statement is out of his mind. But this is a really tough test, so I'm going to go with TCU winning it in a fairly high-scoring game, 38-31.
Yeah, I'm right with you, and I don't think Colorado needs to win this game to prove people wrong. I think if they're in it and they're very competitive in it, you can feel good about that. If they get blown out and TCU covers, then there's some question marks here. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm right there with you. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a lot of fun to watch on Saturday. I'm excited to see Dylan Edwards. All these receivers he has. I'm excited to see Shiloh Sanders in this defense, and how hard are these guys going to hit, right? I'm excited to see all that. And so I'm right with you. I think the Buffs lose a close one. I'm going to change up the score a little bit. I'll say 31-28. I think TCU gets them. I think it's a game all day long, and it's going to be a fun one out there.
Folks are always so excited to see the new playmakers. Yeah. That's what makes this the excitement level for this first game under Coach Prime even heightened. Is not only are you excited about all the new guys, but also the 3 starters that stuck around and maintain a starting position. So, there's so many guys you're going to see play for the first time, but then there's those 3 guys that I would think have instantly become fan favorites in Jared Christian, Lichtenhan, Van Wells, and Trevor Woods. So, I have a hard time believing that this team is going to be as bad as some people think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think fans are not only excited about new playmakers. There's around here, they're excited about any playmakers, right? We haven't seen playmakers in a couple years, so it'll be a lot of fun. Adam and I will be down there. We'll be back after the game to talk about it.